If you are African and you black and you still Christian, you should question yourself. How is it that black people, African people, the progenitors of the world, the indigenous population on the planet, the creators of all systems of man, how is it that you can worship the God of your enslaver, worship the God of your conqueror, worship the God of your neo-colonialist? How is it? Nothing about that religion has been beneficial to you. Not one missionary has ever benefited Africa. As soon as the missionary came to the developed portions of Western Central Africa, their Christianity undeveloped it. The reason why West Africa and Central Africa and East Africa and Southern Africa and Northern Africa is undeveloped, or at least not developed to where it's supposed to be, is directly because of Christianity and Islam. Foreign religions that do not belong to us adds zero spiritual balance to our lives. As a matter of fact, it's the African that brings the spirit to Christianity. It's the African that brings the spirit to Islam. We are the spirit. Religion is the abomination. That's why if you look at any African, no matter what we practicing, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, we bring the spirit out of it, like soul food. Even when we cook, we put soul in that shit. When we worship, we put soul in that. Because we are the soul, we are the spirit. Everybody else is feeding off of us, and we ain't realized that shit yet. Still playing around, cosplaying as a Christian, as a Muslim, and look at our state of being because of it. And we worship and honor and we fight for and defend these foreign religions that came and destroyed our great ancient nations and cities and peoples. We worship that and value that over our own shit. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. Anyway, you guys tell me what you think in the comment sections. Afro Think Tank, learn something, teach something. I'm out. In Ethiopia, converted to Christianity. They ain't start Christianity. So I don't want to hear that shit in my comment section.
I'm going to say this. If you're from West Africa or anywhere in the African diaspora and you're Christian, that's genuinely confusing to me. And I'm not coming at you. I'm not judging you. I'm asking you to think with me for 3 minutes. Because let's start with the voodoo doll. Everyone knows what a voodoo doll is, right? Little figure, pin stuck in it, cursing your enemies. That's African. That's voodoo. That's evil. Or that's just what they told us. And every single part of that is a lie. The voodoo doll does not come from Africa. Historians trace it to European folk magic. Puppets, that's what they were actually called, were used in English, German, and French witchcraft for centuries before anyone colonized West Africa. Medieval Europe was full of this practice. Wax figures, cloth dolls, pens, that was their tradition. But when Europe needed to justify slavery, when they needed a reason to call African people savage, to call our spirituality dangerous, they needed a villain. So they took their own practice, their own folk magic, and crossed it with distorted stories about West African voodoo, and created a monster. The European doll is a European invention wearing an African mask. And then they put it in every horror movie, every Halloween costume, every haunted house. They made billions of dollars off the lie they invented about a people they were already destroying. And the real voodoo, the actual tradition, is a sophisticated spiritual system practiced across Benin, Togo, Ghana, and Nigeria. It's about connection to your ancestors, to nature, to community. It has priests and ceremonies and healing. It has ethics and responsibility. It's not about sticking pins in dolls and cursing people. That was never us. That was always them. Now here's something else they don't teach you. Most Africans and most of the diaspora say they're Christian. They're practicing a European Christianity. The version that came on slave ships, the version that the Portuguese brought to West Africa in the 15th century. Portugal was the first European nation to colonize the African coast. And they didn't just take bodies, they took belief systems. They told our ancestors their God was false and their God was the only truth. That is the Christianity that spread through West Africa. That is the Christianity that was beaten into the diaspora. The missionary version, the colonial version, the version designed to make you compliant, to make you look to heaven while someone stole everything on earth. Here's what they don't really want you to know. Africa had its own Christianity before Europe even knew what it was. Ethiopia. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church is one of the oldest Christian institutions on the planet. We're talking 4th century, 300s AD, before Rome made Christianity its state religion, before the Pope had any power, before Europe had cathedrals. Africa had Christianity first, the African version, rooted in African culture, African language, African interpretation, the Keba Nagast, the Ark of the Covenant. Traditions that have nothing to do with what the Portuguese sold us. So when someone says, but Christianity is in Africa too, yes, the Ethiopian version, not the colonizer version. And then, after they invented the lie about our spirituality, after they made the world afraid of Vundun and Ifa, after they showed up with the colonial Bible, they forced it onto our ancestors' bodies through slavery, through violence, through rape and torture and terror, and called it saving them. From what? From the tradition they invented lies about? No. Stripping people from their sacred traditions, beating a new god into them, that is the evil in this story. Let's be clear about that. But they cannot kill it. Our ancestors were too smart, too connected, too rooted. They hid the sacred in every day. They disguised it, they coded it, and it survived. You think jumping the broom is just a cute wedding tradition? That's an African spiritual practice kept alive. Black eyed peas on New Year's, not splitting the pole with someone, leaving offerings at graves, that's hoodoo. That's our ancestors talking to us through habit and ritual right here in America. In Haiti, voodoo didn't just survive, it powered a revolution. The only successful slave revolt in history was rooted in African spirituality. Let that sink in. In Cuba, Lukmi Santaria, the Yoruba Orisha, alive in worship in Havana right now. In Trinidad and Tobago, spiritual baptism and Shango, African traditions woven into island life. In Brazil, we have Candomblé and Umbanda, some of the most vibrant African spiritual practice in the entire world, preserved by people who refused to forget. In Jamaica, we have Kumina and Obia, connecting people directly to their Congolese and West African roots. In Belize, and among the Garifuna people, Dugu ceremonies, ancestor veneration, all people who held on across centuries of pressure. In Colombia and Venezuela, Palo Mayombe. In Suriname and French Guiana, Wenti. In the Dominican Republic, 21 Divisiones or Santaria, Voodoo Dominicano. Not the Hollywood version, the real one. One that kept people whole. This didn't happen by accident. Our ancestors made choices under the worst conditions imaginable. They chose to remember. They chose to pass it down, disguised in food, in music, in movement, in ritual. So when I see us reject all of that and hold on tight to the religion of the people who enslaved us, I just want us to ask one question. Not with guilt, not with shame, just honestly. Who told you your original self was evil? And what did they gain from you believing that? They invented the voodoo doll. They spread that lie. They burned our traditions down. They handed us the colonial Bible and told us we were saved. Africa had God long before Europe arrived. Ethiopia had Christianity before Europe made it a weapon. And our ancestors kept the sacred alive in every country they were taken to, and every tradition they passed down, and every ritual we still practice today, without even knowing why. Our ancestors are not gone. They're in the way we cook and what we do on New Year's without knowing why. And every tradition we kept, everything else was taken from us. They are in us, and that is not evil.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such an extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate? You should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.